Hi, this is Dusty Baker. You're watching Bay Area Sports Wrap.
Given the way that the offense had been going, how would you describe the reaction to Ramos's hit?
It was not only in our dugout, but the crowd went. I mean, that's as loud as we've heard them all year, and it's pretty inspiring when we haven't scored any runs and you're down 5-0 to one of the better pitchers in the National League, and now we get into a situation where we got a chance, and it was pretty loud. So big hit, big response by the crowd. Obviously, a huge win for us.
How would you describe Johnson's impact on the game?
Man, they went a long way for that ball. So, I mean, that was huge, obviously, at the time. And, had a couple hits and just looked like he was pretty comfortable out there. I thought Dom had some good at-bats, too, even though he took an offer. So, a little different look today. And next thing you know, we look up and we have 6 runs. So, a little different feeling.
Given the roster shakeup prior to the game and given the 5-0 deficit, what can you say about the way this team has responded?
Yeah, the 5-0 is something earlier in the season that we were doing. A few runs back, getting the best relievers. It seemed like late in the game. Obviously, we haven't been doing that for a while, but that feeling comes back, and now all of a sudden the place is jumping, and we got a real opportunity. Chapman's homer gave us, a real chance at the time. And then to put together the at-bats we did, in the 7th inning, kind of felt like it was earlier in the season. So hopefully that's something to build on.
Bob, what can you say about the job that Jelly did to stop the bleeding, basically?
That was huge. Coming in the middle of the inning. And by the way, Harry took one off the left elbow, contusion. Well, we'll see how he goes. He gets an extra day, so we'll see how we get there. But to come in that situation and, not only finish that inning up, but give us 2 more. And now all of a sudden we score, the runs to put us ahead. Now all of a sudden we got Tyler in the game. So that was as big a contribution as anybody today.
Bob, how good does it feel to finally get a win over the Padres after going on a 4 against them to start out?
You know what? I didn't even consider that. I think it was more just how we've been playing and not scoring any runs. So, I think more than anything, it was just a relief to score 6 runs and win a game. So, yeah, also good to win against those guys.
Would you have tried to stay with Kyle a little bit longer if he hadn't taken that ball off his elbow?
No, he was going to be about 90. That was going to be about it regardless. We figured 90 pitches was about it, and I think he got to that 87. Yeah, he was probably going to come out then anyway.
And then was Camilo unavailable today?
No, Camilo wasn't available today, and you know what? That's kind of a tough thing with Walk there. That ball in left field's a ball normally we catch, but with the lefties coming up, and I had Randy loose, brought him in. But we have those 3 guys at the end of the game are really good. We're lucky to have all of them.
What can you just say about the work that Randy was able to do to get out of that jam?
Yeah, and then the stolen base too, and now all of a sudden you're potentially a bloop away from losing the game. But we haven't seen anything really bother him all year, and Sheets has been as hot as anybody on their team. So, with 1 strike on him, we're going to go after him as opposed to intentionally walk and maybe go after a righty afterward. You look at his numbers against lefties; they're just as good. So that was huge for us and huge for Randy too.
Elliott did call for that ball, right? That was his ball.
I don't know. I know he broke back, so he was going a long way, and I think Willie noticed that. So he tried to get out there to get it, and it's one of those things that just ended up being in between the both of them. And we're lucky that it didn't. The runners didn't move up to second and third at that point in time. But that's one of those where just in the right spot to drop.
So what was the vibe and the emotions, pre-game with all the new blood here, and in-game with those guys, making a difference?
I think, yeah, that's a good question. I think before it was just like what just happened, and then during the game, we're down a little bit, even though kind of the spirits, we talked a little bit in the hitters meeting about what we're looking at right now. And then once Chappie hit the home run, I felt like there was a completely different vibe in the dugout. And then certainly to be able to come back and get 3 in the 7th is a completely different feeling than what we've been feeling for a while.
Good.
Right.
This is ESPN radio announcer Mark Kestisher for Bay Area Sports Wrap. Please give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.